Hello. Thank you so much for having me a part of this incredible organization. It is an honor to be a part of CAN and also the Galactic Alliance. The Galactic Alliance is really an incredible organization that comes at a time that is essential and paramount for us to transcend the limitations of our mind into unity consciousness, into a way of interconnecting, into a way of looking beyond the veil of the physical, into the interdimensional. And this is actually what I'm going to talk to you about today. My name is Geraldine Orozco. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and I specialize in something called epigenetic psychotherapy. I love to study the effect of our emotions and sound frequency waves on our DNA, long-term effects, how it affects and how we are affected by generational trauma, and how the human encapsulates into this physical vessel as they are born in conception into life, and the agreements that are made at the time of birth for the life that it's going to have. Everything is encoded in our DNA, and not only has research shown, but through my work and by traveling in these astral fields, navigating the fields simultaneously, we begin to understand and paint a picture that this universe is more than just an illusion, perhaps, that is limited to the physical. We are an interdimensional construct. Each human plays an incredible role in the co-creation of what we know as the matrix. And all of that is an expression of what is encoded in the root program of co-creation known as DNA. Our genetics hold the key to everything that we have been and everything that we have the potential of becoming. And it is within this incredible concept of simultaneity that we are existing in this present timeline, but at the same time, simultaneously in other dimensional planes, meaning that we are experiencing past lives, future lives, and seen through the filter of time that we have constructed as humans, which don't necessarily apply for these dimensions. And so, of course, as we know the basics of our dimensions, we ourselves, this multidimensional organism known as the physical body, is actually made up of those dimensions. Within the layers of our field exist these dimensional layers, and all of which is encoded in the genetic data of this organism. And we can access that information in many different ways. We can affect and edit that information through our understanding of epigenetics and the effect of our environment and the world around us. But we can also shift and change timelines as we begin to integrate and activate higher faculties to allow us to master the physical realm from a higher perspective. The higher vibrational frequency, the higher octave we are able to activate in our multidimensional body, the higher dimensional layer, field of the body that we are able to access in our body, also simultaneously activates DNA, holographic DNA. And it is through the activation of these intuitive faculties that we can almost remote view, learn, read, and write this holographic DNA, which will help a human in their everyday life. And this is information that I discovered during several years of deep diving in meditation, and through the activation of psychic abilities, being able to navigate these realms to understand each layer of the body, the information that it contains, how we access that information, and how we can use that information. And of course, looking at discernment, the laws of free will, and taking us to the next step of understanding interdimensional contact, which is very much what our organization is about, understanding the connection to the stars and vice versa, ourselves within those stars. So what I have found, not only through this internal deep dive, but also by working with several of my clients through hypnotherapy and this psychosomatic work, going deep into the layers of emotions, is that we hold imprints, memory imprints, holographic memory imprints that are imprinted within the several layers of the body. And when we learn how to access and pinpoint the root cause of these emotional imprints in the body, we begin to uncover many fractals of ourselves that have been created through these situations, memories, scenarios in many points throughout our life. And we are made up of these points as if a network of information. We have the ability of accessing all these points in our field in order to learn deeper truths about ourselves, our purpose, our connections to our family, why we incarnate in our family, why we play the role that we play, the purpose of our lives, and why we are attracted to certain careers and the work that we're here to do. And more importantly, the soul's existence and the purpose for the soul and the role that it plays in the greater whole. So all of this is information that is available through you when you learn to read your own holographic DNA by navigating the ranges of your own dimensional layers. And this information seems as if it's something very complicated, but it's actually very simple. There is a formula to utilizing the technology of the human body in order to be able to access this information. The first step is by training our intuition. The intuition is trained by connecting mind and body. Many of us that have been born into fragmentation, which is the nature of this reality, as we experience duality in the three-dimensional plane, fragmentation is what occurs to the soul when it experiences any sort and any level, any density of trauma. It begins to fragment, and it can fragment in smaller clusters of information or very multiple fractals of information. And what that means is that as a result of trauma, the soul becomes suspended energetically in a timeline that becomes a reference point in your energetic field. And when we have a lot of trauma, it creates an accumulation of information that we keep referring back to every moment in our everyday interactions. Our brain functions like a filing cabinet. And the filing cabinet will look through the information that is similar to the scenario that you're experiencing, pull from that information and apply to that present moment in order to allow you to respond, act, behave, protect yourself, defend yourself, or enhance the situation that's occurring. But when that filing cabinet does not have that information, it creates a traumatic disconnect. And energetically and electromagnetically in the body, there is a stagnation of movement in your life force field. And that stagnation creates a very dense frequency that creates the suspended timeline within the field. So this creates a point of reference that you now call trauma. And we experience many moments of trauma throughout our lives, especially as children. From the womb, from the time of conception to the moment of 7 years of age, we are programming informational, emotional informational data that make up who we are, which then produces what we know as a personality. And this personality essentially becomes the navigation tool for our lives. And more likely after the age of 7, a personality, a very strong personality begins to solidify in the person. And we go through a second phase when we go through puberty, activating the sexual life force creation systems in the body. And this is when the human goes through different stages of their development into a very unique, very powerful instrument of co-creation. We co-create in the infancy until in this childhood energetically through vibrational frequency. And after puberty, we begin to co-create into the physical realm. In later years, after we have already integrated our sexual energy into our late adulthood, early adulthood, we have an opportunity for the integration of these two aspects of ourselves, the mental, emotional, and the physical. And this usually becomes distorted by our environment by many ways, by social media, by music, by sound, by frequency patterns that are moving in and around us that can distort the natural connection to nature and the natural movement of energy through our bodies. And we cultivate that natural connection and movement in our bodies by generating a deep connection to nature. So the more we are connected to nature, the more we can generate this organism, this instrument, which is very much an incredibly powerful vortex that creates a pool of life force of co-creation in multiple dimensional layers. So the more that a human trains their intuition at an early age, they begin to really reconnect the neural pathways that strengthen psychic abilities. And psychic foundation is essential for the forming of our higher faculties. The higher faculties are those which we are utilizing in dream time, or when we are sleeping and navigating out of body in dream time and navigating in the astral plane. We have the opportunity of moving in these dimensional layers of our own field. Everything is, the concept of you are the universe is very real, in a sense that we are holding the universe within the body, both metaphorically and also psychologically, physically, and biochemically. We are holding in this life force the ability to navigate, co-create, and experience all dimensional layers. So the more that we cultivate these higher faculties, we have the ability of navigating these higher dimensions in dream time. And the use and the preservation and the cultivation of our sexual energy, of our life force energy, which is emotional energy. Okay, so there are many different kinds of life forces that we produce: sexual, emotional, and electromagnetic. So all of these work together in creating the field and in the co-creation of our experiences. When we understand that our DNA is a holographic database from which we pull information on how to respond to experiences, we begin to understand that we have much more power in the creation of our everyday life experiences. Illnesses that we embody, relationship blockages in finances, um, um, understanding our purpose and who we are in this world is all available for you within this body. In fact, as we cultivate a very strong meditation practice, we begin to create and grow the gray matter in the brain, which then grows the gray matter in the spinal cord that allows an ability to create a strong structure of transduction in the body. We are biochemical, but more so bioelectrical. And this bioelectrical, biochemical system functions in a way that we have the ability to transmute these low vibrational frequency emotions into a high vibrational frequency emotion. In fact, our entire life is an opportunity for alchemization. As we are embedded in our DNA and at the time of birth through your universal astrological photograph of everything and the energies in the universe that create who you are designed to create a template of the experiences that you're going to have in life. So the families that you incarnate into and everything that makes up what you think is your personality is a product of inherited and influence of energies, both cosmic and earth energies that create who you are. So once we begin to meditate, we begin to face, these begin to surface, we begin to become aware of these programs that we have within us. The deprogramming process is a process of profound awareness that we can utilize in order to become aware of those programs that we hold within us. The fears, the triggers, the anxieties, the doubts, all of the programs of separation that we hold within us are an illusion temporarily that we experience through everyday life experiences. And they are also going to be opportunities for us to transmute from the illusion of separation into unity, everyday experiences, but also interdimensionally. So as we are moving in this incredible evolutionary cycle in which the veils are thinning until 2024, 2024 being the foundation of major changes on this earth, but into 2030, we are creating and opening a new world in which the human will have more vision into the interdimensional layers of our reality. And based on your vibrational frequency, based on your astrological sign, based on the way that you cultivate your life force, you will be able to access this information more focused, more focused. This is why learning how to navigate interdimensionally is incredibly important at this time, because it allows us to understand that when you become conscious in your dream state, such as practicing lucid dreaming, you are practicing what you have been practicing in your waking state. Becoming lucid and awake in waking state then goes into the dream state, and it becomes a very powerful tool of conscious awareness and discernment, and especially the activation of our free will. Humans are not able to access free will if they are in constant states of hypnosis, disconnected, and unconscious. So it's really important for the human to activate these dormant aspects of themselves by creating full body awareness. As we begin to look at these physical bodies, the form of co-creation in the physical body, we are made up of many layers. And these layers of information that are like fields around us become like orbs that extend from the center of our body, that are created in the DNA and through the spinal cord, the nervous system, the layers of the body that then project out into a holographic field that make up the root, sacral, solar, heart, throat, third eye, into infinite layers of our body above and below us. But the ones that we primarily utilize in this matrix in the physical realm is the first three chakras. These are the areas that are connected to our sexual organs and our sexual life force, which is the primordial life force of creation that human is available to access. The sacral chakra, which is the energy of sexual creation and co-creation, also creates the ability to manifest in this world. The root chakra is primarily the chakra of safety, of feeling embodied, the ability to embody fully into the physical vessel so that we can create. The seed of life, which is created by the masculine in the root, is nurtured and um, uh, uh, gestated in the sacral by the female. And the solar plexus being the emotional translator of vibrational frequency. So everything that we experience in the world is filtered through these three first layers of the body. These develop until the third age of our lives, and we begin to create this vigorous life force, which is known as the dantian, the lower dantian. When these three bodies of your physical creation and emotion are integrated fully through the deprogramming of false inversions of emotions, false inversions of separation, and false inversions of co-creation, the human is able to cultivate powerful cultivation of life force in the lower dantian. And this becomes the empowerment of human. In other words, when a human cultivates a balance between its emotions, its sexual energy, and its ability to embody, it can become a powerful, powerful manifester. But it doesn't really begin to affect the physical until it integrates this with the higher faculties of the body. And those would be the heart, the throat, and the third eye of the body, which are the layers of the higher faculties. The heart being one of the strongest fields of the body, which are the first of the higher faculties that interconnect with every living organism on this earth through coherence. And this incredible field of coherence is what integrates the higher and the lower. The throat chakra being the balance between the feminine and masculine energies that then create the balance of integration of the sexual energy with our spiritual self, with our soul. And the intuition, which is the ability to translate and speak the language of frequency in all dimensional layers, is essentially the navigation of intuition that helps the human know how to navigate the physical realm in the way that it's the highest and most productive for itself. So these being the lower, the middle, and the upper dantian, then connect with the master center of co-creation, which is in the 7th and 8th chakra. The 7th and 8th chakra is also known as the DNA of the earth. It is known as the Akashic records, and it is the higher holographic DNA of our physical body. It's where our higher DNA is stored in our body and where we can access information about past lives, our ancestors, and also our interdimensional future selves. Now, to go deeper into the interdimensional aspects of ourselves, those are self-organized in the higher dimensional layers from the 9th to the 13th up until infinity, until once again we return back to source, which is all, which is the white light, in which all spectrum of colors, which we are fractalized here as these colors, become one. Essentially, the human is always white light. It is always a union. It is always a unification with the universe. Our ability to navigate these dimensional planes in dream time help us uncover the records of ourselves, the experiential agreements that we have made to experience through this temporary vessel, but also allow us to understand the temporary agreements that we have made to experience in other vessels, which manifest in these other dimensional layers. These might be our archetypes that are These are the archetypes that are our interdimensional aspects of ourselves. Now, we have the ability of accessing this information by going deep in reading through our holographic DNA, but essentially, we very much look like we very much look like these giant fields of information in which we are experiencing, give me a moment, all these timelines simultaneously. They do also affect and influence our current timeline because we meet one another in these dimensional layers. Fractals of ourselves that are self-organized through archetypes are aspects that we meet and we interact with in this current state. So our experience in this life is a very powerful opportunity for us to really access and uncover everything that we are. As we begin to activate these higher layers, we embody unity consciousness. And the more that we elevate our vibrational frequency by unifying our ability to navigate these many dimensions of ourselves, we also change in how we are affecting this physical realm by states of co-creation. And when we are in lower states of co-creation, in states of survival, we absolutely are in states of separation. As we begin to unify and become aware of our interdimensional aspects, we begin to come closer to a unity consciousness. So this is why interdimensional navigation is very important. Those of you that have ET contact, those of you that have discovered that you're part of hybridization programs, and in fact, many of us, and perhaps all, are a part of the hybridization program, as we ourselves are descendants of this hybridization program. As the nature of this self-organizing organism, we have embedded within our DNA our alien blood types, alien DNA, which is what we activate when we encounter interdimensional contact. When we encounter beings or species of other dimensional layers, we are activating DNA that allows us to access that information. And so in order to be able to navigate them in a way that is harmonious and conducive for our expansion, we always have to remember that it depends completely on us, on our creator state. If we are in survival, our interactions in these interdimensional layers will be distressing, they will be separation, they will be expressions of powerlessness and helplessness. But when we begin to shift the perspective into a higher awareness, and perspective in this case not is biophysical, it's not just a thought of that, it is the embodiment of unity consciousness. It is the removal of fear programs in the body through deprogramming and the unification of unconditional love as an embodied state of being that allows you to change perspectives biophysically, biochemically, bioelectrically, which makes you in resonance with aspects of your DNA that are activated and experienced through your dream state. So you might be able to become aware of yourself navigating in 10th dimension, 11, 12, 13 dimensional layers, all of which allow you to become aware of yourself and navigate these realms. So this navigation in dream state is incredibly important and allows the human to be able to access higher faculties and higher abilities in your realm. For this important navigation, intention is incredibly important. And the intention is clarified through the deprogramming of separation in your core subconscious programming systems. Intention is informed by repetitive patterns from our genetic database. If you are inheriting programs of war, programs of separation, fear, and anxiety through your genetics, through family lineages, and inheriting this into your own children, you are reinforcing these programs not only within yourself, within your biophysical organism, but also into the field and into the next generation. So you choose timelines by your epigenetic activity and choices. Please understand that your epigenetic influence is not only subject to your physical body, but because you are the co-creator and because the entire universe exists within yourself and with each individual human participates in changing and creating timelines of union, wellness, and higher unity consciousness. Okay, so as we come into a more neutral state, the key to the navigation in these higher dimensional planes is neutrality. The non-judgment, which is filtered by limited perceptions of separation, are blocking your ability to come into a higher level of consciousness and unity. So we come into more clarity, both in our intuition and in our physical navigation, by coming into as much neutrality, as much of the 0 point possible. The 0 point is the key to navigating all dimensional layers of your field in a harmonious, productive, and co-creative manner. Okay, so as we begin to work in these deep, profound states of co-creation, the human returns to becoming white light again. And as we know, many of our navigation crafts, interdimensional crafts, orbs, are the manifestation of Merkaba light bodies, which we have the ability of becoming. This physical body, through the cultivation of our genetic data, through the mindful interaction and navigation of your everyday life, begins to activate the vortex of your body that is created by this incredible Merkaba light body. And this becomes your vessel of navigation. The embodiment of that 0 point activates the movement of your spin of the vortex of the upper and lower bodies. And these upper and lower bodies allow you to navigate these higher faculty dimensions. Just really briefly, I'm going to show you what that looks like. The shape of your body energetically depends on your state of emotional awareness. So if your energy is being depleted by unconscious emotions, you are creating tears and imbalances in your body. Ultimately, the physical body holds a lower density frequency emotions that don't allow you to access 0 point, don't allow you to access higher frequencies and dimensions. So as we begin to clear out the debris within the field, this vortex of your physical body begins to spin faster and faster. The design of this universe is in a spiral motion. We are evolving through this spiral motion through higher octaves, and we also hold the spiral design within our construct of our physical body down to the cellular level into our DNA and out into the toroidal field of the body, which then links into several layers of a DNA chain that we also participate in. In fact, our bodies are more of a DNA fractal movement than they are just the physical body. The way that we create and move energy through the body defines how we navigate this realm, defines dream state, defines astral projection, defines how we are accessing information. And the more that we come into the 0 point, the faster we are moving, the more we enter into a harmonic state of coherence with this entire multidimensional reality. So it is really important to understand that clearing the blockages of these navigations, integrating the lower, middle, upper dantian, cultivating our energies in the creation and physical matrix. So our, whether we feel safe in the body, our sexual energy and our emotions, when we integrate those to create the qing, or the lower principal primordial creative energy, we then can utilize that into moving the upper faculty, which is our intuitive body, creating that life force of co-creation. And the physical body is, I teach a pretty intense course on how the energy moves through the body and how to move this body. You can check out my YouTube channel at geraldineorozco.com to learn more about that. I go really in depth into this information, but essentially we are learning how to cultivate this energy in the body, creating this Merkaba light body. Okay, so I know there's so much more that we can talk about, but this ends and concludes my presentation for today. My invitation for you and my most loving and, uh, you know, uh, invitation for you is that you learn how to love yourself, to nurture yourself, to connect deeply with this self in order to begin to understand these instructions of how this beautiful vessel functions. We are not foreign, and we don't not understand this physical body. Everything you need to know is encoded in your physical body. And as you sit in meditation and connect with every cell of this body, it will instruct you on how to activate the intelligence of this body. This body is a beautiful, intelligent, self-organized organism of very incredible co-creative potential. And it is infinite creative potential, which means that you can become anything that you want to become. You can co-create your reality any way that you want it to be, depending on your belief systems, which are the psychological input, electrical charges into this output of holographic co-creation. So please do take some time. And if you want to learn more about this and how to do it and all the intricacies and formulas and practices, you can check out my website at geraldineorozco.com. You can also sign up to get a hypnotherapy with me to learn how to navigate and uncover who you are in this and other dimensional planes to allow you to access your purpose quicker in this lifetime. And primarily in DNA reprogramming, which is a very intense session of deprogramming root core limiting beliefs to allow you to activate higher faculties of your body. So you can schedule those sessions with me at geraldineorozco.com. And if you are an experiencer in the hybridization program or in hybridization, or just any kind of ET contact, interdimensional contact, you can also join my support group at hybridmother.com, and it would be a great pleasure to connect with you. I want to thank the Galactic Alliance for having me and allowing me to participate in this beautiful event this weekend. And I hope that this information brings you an awakening and activation and allows you to implement these practices in your everyday life starting right now. So embody unconditional love, come into the 0 point, begin to move your vortex, embody higher vibrational frequency of unity consciousness. And I hope that you have an incredible day. All my love. Bye-bye.